Hello, everybody. Yes, yes, yes. We are here tonight with another long awaited Tell Your Story. And my goodness, guys, we had to come in hot with cameras tonight. Not just YouTube tonight, but Facebook Live. And yes, yes, our new home at MBLA, that is my Best Life Academy. So we're bringing it all to you tonight because we have an amazing young lady with us. She's a Gen Zer, y'all. She's a millennial, kind of in that bridge gap, if you will. She's all that and then some. But more than that, she has an amazing story. Sometimes we miss those stories in that particular generation, but they have a voice. They have vitality, they have vigor, and yes, they have vision. We don't want to miss what they have to say tonight. So I am so delighted. This is one that I call her my nickname, but she's mine. And I share it with her mother. Her mother's so wonderful. So we're so excited to have her with us tonight. She is Mrs. Yes, there's a Mrs. Mackeshia Edwards Jackson. You guys welcome her on tonight. That's my baby.
Hello.
Hello. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. You look amazing. This must
Great.
have been
Thank
a wonderful
you.
Thursday, huh?
It was. It was
I
awesome.
know.
Can't complain.
I
I
know.
had a great day.
Oh my gosh. I love it when we have a great day. I almost want to break out in the song, y'all, but I'm not going to do it. We're going to save that for another time. But listen, we want to get started with you. This has just been an amazing journey. I know part snippets of your story, but tonight you're going to be sharing that straight from the heart and
Yes,
what
ma'am.
that means to you. And I think what that means to our audience tonight as well. So, you guys who have joined in, you know somebody needs this conversation. You know somebody needs to hear the story. Go ahead and put them in the chat. Call them out, y'all, because as one of my mentors and coaches says, you're not calling them out, you're calling them up. Call them up to the stage tonight so they can hear this story. It's going to impact. So let's go ahead and start from the beginning. Tell us where you were born.
I was born in Houston, Texas,
H Town.
at Jefferson Davis Hospital,
Mhm.
by my wonderful parents, Deborah Edwards. You all know her. You've seen her. She's probably in the chat.
Oh,
Um,
she is.
as well as my father, Mac Johnson. He's my father. Yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful. And yes, we do know your sweet mother. That is a powerful preaching woman of God. Just love her to life. Yes. And she is the first. So she is here tonight. Very supportive as always. Of course, our big sister Dina. But yes, yes. So tell us a little bit about what it was like growing up for you.
Growing up for me was I had a great child life.
Mhm.
I had a absentee father. I mean, he was there, but not there. But my mother, she was always there. She made it happen. Like whatever I needed. It may not have always been the wants, but it was definitely everything that we needed because I
Yeah.
have siblings. But um, she made a way, and I'm so forever grateful to her for that.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, like I had a great child life. I say the needs, but when she could get the wants, it was there. She never missed a beat.
Mm.
Always encouraged me, pushed me. Anything that I've done in school, I was a majorette in school, and she was like my number one supporter, like right there. Um, yeah, and she's never missed a beat. So I thank God for my parents. My dad has been there as well, here and there. So I'm grateful for him too,
Yeah.
being in my life.
I love that. I love that. And girl, you left out that major red thing. I'm talking about high kicking. All right. What?
Listen, and then my coach was mad when she found out that I was in the eighth grade. She was like, "Well, can you stay another year just so you can be a part of it?" But I was a high stepper. Like she really. I mean, I
Oh,
had so much fun. She was like, "Can you stay another year?" I was like, "No, ma'am, I can't be held back just for majorette."
oh, that's
But I
awesome.
enjoyed it.
I love it. I love it. I love it. That's a great story. And what about the siblings? We want to make sure that we mention them. You mentioned them, but name them as well. You have some
So I
amazing
have
siblings.
four. I have four
Mhm,
siblings.
mhm,
My oldest sibling is Terry. Terry
mhm,
Edwards. He just graduated with his doctor degree in business, and he also worked in the pharmaceutical area. He's been doing that for years.
mhm.
My next to the oldest brother, Greg.
Yeah.
Um, Love him to death. Always about family.
Mhm.
My sister, my one and only sister on my mom's side. Her name is Jasmine. She is
Yeah.
the mother of my niece and nephew. Love, love, love them. And then my he's my older brother, but Pastor Joshua Ellis, he is
Mhm,
my pastor as well.
mhm.
He have two of my three, I'm sorry, three of my nephews that I love to death. And I didn't forget, sorry, but I forgot to mention
Mhm,
my brother Greg has my first niece, Kamora,
mhm.
and my first nephew, Gregory. So,
Ah,
yes,
big family. But I'm listening to, man, amazing job by your mom.
yes, definitely,
I'm listening to that production line. That's a pretty impressive production line, I might add.
definitely,
Yes, it
definitely.
is. Yes, it is. Kudos to her. Yeah, listen to that in there. And of course, we wish you happy clergy month as well, Pastor Josh. So that's one of my babies as well. So sending him a great shout out. And now that we talked a little bit about family, I know as young women, we have these dreams, and we're doing a dreamer series as well on a whole other platform. But tell us what your dream was as a little girl.
My dream was, as a little girl, to be a pediatric nurse. I have always had a love for children.
Mhm.
And as a little girl, that is exactly what I wanted to do. The love for children has not left.
Yeah.
It is still there.
Mhm.
Um, I'm not even giving up on the dream as being a nurse, because who knows? I'm in college right now, so who knows where I go next.
Exactly. Exactly. So we never give up on a dream, but you do really have a huge heart for children. And that always comes through. It always comes through. We see the interaction, and when you talk about your nieces and nephews, you just light up the room. So
Yes, ma'am. I
yeah.
love, and I
Yeah.
think they love Aunt Keisha just as much.
I know they do. I think you can wear that beige shirt well. Best aunt ever. I think you can.
Yes.
I love it. So now we're growing up in this family, baby, dreams, aspirations, but we become young women and hearts go aflutter. Tell us about the first love and what that was like.
Okay, here we go. The first love, I want to say it was the first time I was in love by myself, if I can
Mm,
rearrange that. Um, I was young. I was young. I want to say about maybe 18, maybe 19.
okay.
And it was a hard relationship. I found myself trying to basically grow someone or help
Mm,
someone grow who really didn't want the help.
mm,
It was things that I've done that a parent should have done versus getting birth certificate, license, a social security card, a place to live, paying for that place to live, and I'm not there. It was just a lot that a parent should have done. At the time, I was in love, Honestly, my first real relationship to what
mhm.
I thought.
Yeah.
Um, the the person I've lost my virginity to. Um, so I was in love, but during that relationship, I learned a lot, went through a lot.
Mhm.
Um, I went through not physical abuse, but mental abuse. It was draining.
Mm.
I lost weight. I mean, no, not lost weight. Gained weight.
Okay.
Lost my hair. It was a very like stressful situation, and I wasn't letting go.
Mm.
Um, there were multiple situations as far as stealing from me, stealing from my mom. Like it was crazy that to where I should have left, but
Mm.
I held on.
Wow.
And it wasn't until something tragic, which I call tragic,
Mhm.
happened to me to where I let go.
Mhm.
Um, it was I went to the doctor. Well, before I went to the doctor,
Mhm.
I wake up and I'm in pain, uh, body in pain,
Mhm.
vaginally,
Mhm.
my vaginal area in pain.
Yes.
Could barely move, barely get up off the couch. I'm just thinking, oh, it's a yeast infection because I'm a diabetic. But go to the doctor, and here we are, STD.
Oh wow.
Um, so got the STD, and that was a battle for me because I'm
Mhm.
coming from being a virgin
Yeah.
to having an STD. I didn't wait that long, to lose my virginity just
Yeah.
to have that. In my mind, I'm like, girls that young ladies that move around, with different men.
Yeah.
Okay, I can see it, but
Mhm.
me as a virgin, like virgin STD,
Yeah.
it was a lot. So
Wow.
I'd be lying if I said that was the last straw. Like I
So,
say, I'm
so
being,
what made you stay?
the feeling of like nobody else will want me with this happening. Well, when that happened, when the STD happened, I was like, okay, I'm done. But
Mhm.
if I can be really honest, I
Mhm.
was sneaking. I
Come
was
on.
done to everybody else.
Come on.
Mama knew I was done.
Yeah.
Brothers knew I was done. They
Yeah.
wasn't having it. But I was still sneaking. Because I'm
Mhm.
like, ain't nobody else gonna want me with this. Like this is crazy.
Mm.
But um, you know, it was he went to jail and that was my escape.
Mm.
And I would pray and ask God to help me get out of the situation because I
Mhm.
wasn't helping myself. I was still holding on.
Yeah.
But then getting back in church and realizing that
Mhm.
God had my back and
Yeah.
He never left me, even in that situation, because I was
Mhm.
in places where I shouldn't have been,
Mhm.
around things that I shouldn't have been around. And
Yeah.
He still kept His hand on me.
Wow.
So after that, he went to jail. That was my escape. And
Mhm.
I changed locations, changed phone numbers, never heard from him again. I left this part out, but mama went to the doctor with me, and man, oh man, she was mad. I actually had to stop her from getting a bad and just going to town
Yes, ma'am.
because I was in so much pain. And if he
Mhm.
retaliated, I couldn't help.
Right.
So I was like, even still, I'm being a bigger person. She wanted to leave him there. Mama, no. Let's just take him back. And when he get back, he can leave.
Mm.
So still, my sisters was coming. My sister was coming with people and, ready. But here I am. You know what? Just go
Yeah.
because they coming.
They're
But
coming.
I didn't want my family to get in trouble behind that. So I still felt like God is gonna take care of him
Yeah.
way worse than we can. So that was my story behind my
Oh my
me
gosh.
being in love the first time by myself.
That's what we're talking about, y'all. Tonight she's sharing an amazing story. Told you guys hit somebody in the chat. You got Gen Zers, millennials around. This is your time. This is your time because we need to hear your story. We need to hear your truth. And we need to understand this as we communicate, speak, and share. You said so many pivotal things in there, but one of those that just stood out to me is when you went into the why you stayed. And I kept hearing that term devalue, devalued, that you had devalued
Mhm.
in there. You brought something so precious. You mentioned your innocence, your virginity into that arena, but it was devalued. But here you were being mother
Yeah.
to a man who was really transitioning from a boy
Hmm.
to manhood. And that's left to the first love. Do you
Right.
see more of that happening in your generation or just across the board as women, single women as well? What do you think?
I see. I do see that.
Mhm.
See it. I see it often. I see the men being very controlling.
Mhm.
Not wanting the female to do this or look this way or act this way. And I also see like a lot of women now have feel like they have to prove this themselves to a man.
Mm.
Like, oh, I can do this.
Yeah.
Oh, it's okay, I got it. But no, it's not okay, because you end up stripping yourself, like you're lowering yourself
Mhm.
to a certain standard, and you're, okay, after a while you get to thinking like, I'm nothing, or I'm not good enough, or I'm just gonna stick here and weigh it out. But no, you can be free from that, and
Mhm.
you're not his mom. You're
Mm.
trying to date
Say
him.
that
You're
again.
not his mom.
That.
Like, it's a relationship. At this
Mhm.
point, you can't grow a man. That's not your job.
No,
And I took on that job,
no.
and and as well as like his family, like it was, I mean, she was mother on drugs, and
Mhm.
I mean heavy drugs, and I took that. Like, she would call me, the little girl would call me, and my mommy left me by myself. I was trying to raise a family,
Ugh.
and I was young myself,
Teenager and coming
teenager.
into 20s,
Yes, ma'am.
just starting to live life.
Yes, ma'am.
You're not even legal yet.
Mm-mm.
I'm just thinking about this. So, you have that experience and you see more of it in your generation, or at least the theme sometimes in that generation. And it's across the board, I might add, as we share.
Mm-hmm.
But you mentioned that area of domestic violence, and you gave a distinction. You said that it wasn't a physical thing, but it was an emotional thing and a verbal thing for you, is
Mm-hmm.
what it was. And
Mm-hmm.
so as we celebrate Purple Thursday today, you guys see my color, as we're bringing domestic violence awareness month in this month, along with breast cancer and clergy appreciating, all of it's in there together. But today, Purple Thursday, domestic violence is wide ranged. It's not, we think of the physical,
Mm-hmm.
aspect. In Houston, recently, I was looking at the stats on yesterday of the 106 homicides that they've had in Houston. 35% of those have been domestic violence related. So it is it's a very serious problem. But you went through the emotional and the verbal abuse.
Mm-hmm.
It's still
Yeah.
domestic violence, by
Mm-hmm.
the way, people. It still is.
Mm-hmm.
And how did that impact you, you know, mentally, emotionally, as you found your way out of it? It took a
Um,
crisis to bring you out, but you came out. But how did that impact you?
oh yeah, I'm so grateful that I came out, but the impact was, I mean, it was heavy. It was horrible. Like, I really, we talked about the detours the other day, and it detoured me from being who I was, as far
Mhm,
as like knowing that God has called me to worship.
mhm,
I stopped going to church, and or stopped being faithful. Not that I stopped going,
mhm,
but I wasn't faithful. Eventually, I stopped singing, stopped worshiping.
Mm.
And, speaking about the emotional and mental abuse, I think that it would have gotten physical if he didn't know that I had brothers that was going to
Mm.
come for him. Because the tantrums that used to happen, I mean, holes in the walls and throwing chairs, stuff that he didn't even pay for, my makeup, my CDs, just throwing it all around. And, even as far as talking about my appearance, like,
Mm.
okay, I never had a girl who had to shave under here, who had chin hair like a man, it was a lot. But coming out, I thank God for allowing me. I thank God that it didn't
Mm.
hurt me
Mhm.
as much as it could have,
Yeah.
because I could have stayed in it longer. I could have been walking around now saying, "Oh, I'm ugly," because my chin ain't went nowhere. It's still there. And
And you're
like,
beautiful.
it could have still been
Yeah.
something that I kept on my mental,
Mhm.
to where I would have never been able to love again.
Mhm.
I would have never been able to move on again.
Yeah.
So I thank God for the coming out. It was hard. I remember the days praying like, Lord, I can't wait till this get old. And that was my exact prayer. I ain't gonna lie. I cannot wait for this situation to get old.
Wow.
Why? Because it won't be a worry no more.
Mm.
Things hurt when you go through it.
Yeah, they do.
Especially when you feel like you're in love.
Right.
So I used to pray, Lord, I can't wait for this to get old, and here we are. It's old. It's
And here
done.
you are. It's old. And now, let's switch chapters here. Love finds you. You've got the love of your life. Tell us about this man.
Yes, ma'am. Sure, why not?
Why
Mr.
not?
Dominic Jackson.
Whoop,
Okay, let's
whoop,
get it
whoop.
up for
Oh,
him.
Mr. Jackson.
I light up when I talk about this story because
Yeah.
at the time I was not looking for love. Y'all, excuse me if I get emotional, but the story is so amazing how God does things.
Yes.
I was not looking for love at the time. And
Mm.
how I met my husband, Mr. Dominic Jackson, was I was at work, and I worked for a company called Phallus. Sorry, excuse me.
Okay.
Um, and I was on my lunch break, and my cashier, she called me. She needed some help,
Mhm.
and she called me to the front, and his auntie and her friend and him was standing at the register.
Mhm.
I ain't paid no attention. Honestly,
Mhm.
I was just really going there to help my cashier with the return.
Mhm.
Got there, helped her with the return, and I was actually on the phone. If I could be honest, I was on the phone with a little ex boyfriend at the time. But I was on
Mhm.
the phone, and I told her, I said, okay, well, call me if you need
Mhm.
anything else. She
Yes.
was like, so then here's this voice, like, I want to call you too. I'm like, oh gosh, here we go with the game. Like, oh, okay. So he says, do you mind if
Mhm.
I have your number? I said, no,
Mhm.
but I'll take yours.
Yeah. Oh.
And so he took my number down, and no, he wrote his number down,
Mhm.
and I took it. And he
Mhm.
told me, he said, now don't throw my number away. And I was like, okay, I'm not. As God is my witness, I walked right in the office, y'all, and threw this number in the trash can. Okay?
Hmm.
I threw it in the trash can. Something he told me not to do. Okay, so my cashier called me again, and she's like, she needed help with the same people, the
Mhm.
same auntie, him, same friend.
Mhm.
So I came back out and I helped, and when I was coming back out, sorry, when I was coming back out, he was standing by the front door. So I'm like, okay, this a little weird, he a little stalkerish, He just he left and now he's here again. So he's like, I just got my number changed. I want to make sure you had the right number.
Mhm.
And I was like, okay. So this time I kept it, and Honestly, I called him that night because I was like, okay, he coming back in to make sure I had the number. So I gave him a call that night. And
Yeah.
the rest is history.
Oh my
And
goodness. How
I
many years
almost,
together?
we've been together for 11 years. It will be married 5 years. January 21st of 2023 will be 5 years of marriage. And honestly, in the beginning, I was like, oh my God, I don't like him. He's too nice. We talk about this all the time. He used to always call me sweetie. And
Mm,
yes, he is older than me. So
yeah.
I was like, oh, I wish he stopped calling me sweetie. And and that almost stopped me from talking to him. But y'all, I appreciate my sweetheart. I
Yes.
really do. Because he is a sweetheart. He's very sweet. Like, I don't have to worry about abuse
Mm,
physically, mentally, emotionally. He is everything and then some. He makes sure
mm.
that I feel like I'm the only one to him that matters. And that's how you should feel. That's how you know that that man is for
Sweet.
you. Because when he makes you feel like you're the only girl in the world,
Mhm.
nobody else matters, no do,
Okay, she's
then
coming.
that's the one.
That's the one. That's
That's
the
the one.
one. And I think you summed up that difference of the difference between catching hands and catching his heart.
Mm-hmm.
Because that is the difference. He
Mm-hmm.
makes you feel like you're the only one in a room full of people. You're
Mm-hmm.
still the only one. And guys, he's a sweetheart. He's been in and out in the background, but I've heard that voice before. She lights up the same way when
Yeah.
he walks in. So, yeah, this is the real deal. This is the love.
Yes,
This is the love that
yes,
you want. Love
yes,
that you want.
yes.
But we have a thing that happened to you. There was an encounter with cancer.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. In 2015, I always have to think because he had an encounter as well. But in 2015, I was diagnosed with uterine cancer. It was stages 2 and 3. What I went through, honestly, I've always had issues with a cycle. Ever since
Mhm.
I've known what a cycle, ever since I've started having a cycle, there's always been issues. I would go months without having one, or when I do have one, it'll last forever. Sometime it'll last 2 days. Sometime,
Mhm.
the average week. But what made me even go to the doctor is because I was bleeding heavy. I
Mhm.
mean heavy. Like, no
Mhm.
matter how many pads I wore, the blood would still come through my clothes. Um, I sometimes thought I was having miscarriages because the
Mhm.
blood clots would be so heavy.
Right.
Um, so that's what made me go to the doctor. I went to the OBGYN. She said that it was I had a pile up. So
Mhm.
she did one surgery to remove the pile up.
Yeah.
And when she removed the pile up, that's when she, you know, found the cancer on the uterus.
Oh, wow.
And
And you're how old at this time?
I was, I want to say 24, 24. I was 24. I
Mm,
was 24 when it happened to me. So 24, the hardest thing for me, honestly, wasn't the cancer. It was the children.
mm,
Because like I said, I have a love for children and had a desire to have a desire to have children. And yeah, that was the hardest thing at that time that I went through.
mhm,
But the doctor also talked to me about, freezing the eggs and
mhm,
preserving them. But I was like, you know what? No. Because the
mhm.
cancer is stage 2 and 3. There's only 4 stages. Just do what you gotta do. Then
Yeah.
she's like, well, I can leave your ovaries and maybe you can have a, child because you can still have a child with your ovaries. And I
Mhm.
was like, and she's like, but while I'm in there, I won't be able to tell if the cancer has spread it to your ovaries. So, and I was like, just take it off.
Mm,
So I had a full hysterectomy. Didn't have to have no chemo, no treatment after, no chemo or radiation after.
Yeah.
The surgery took care of the cancer,
Mm.
and as of right now, 7:30 p.m. on the what's today's date? The 20th,
Yes.
2022. I'm cancer free.
How about that? How about that, Jim? How about that, Jim?
Yep,
That's what we're
cancer free.
talking about. That's what we're talking. And a beautiful survivor, I might add. My
Thank
goodness, I know that's a tough chapter, but man, thank you for being transparent on that one.
you. Yes,
And
ma'am.
then told you guys we're going in. You better call those Gen Zers and those millennials.
Let's
We
go.
need you right here. Yeah, because she's telling it all, y'all. And this is what we need to hear. There is a surge as we switch a little bit. We see it across the boards,
Hmm.
but there is a surge, and we're seeing more of it in your generation of what we call recreational marijuana. Now, we can't discount Uncle Snoop bringing my era in, but
Okay.
for your era, talk to us about that. What has been your experience, if so, and what's your take?
Okay. So going back to when I first started using marijuana,
Mhm,
um, well, before I started using it, I used to be around it and I used to
mhm,
make fun of it. Like, oh my God, why do y'all do it? It don't do nothing but make you eat and gain weight. Like, oh my God, and then it stinks. That was me. Okay.
mhm,
Say that was me.
yeah,
Um, it actually started in the first stage of what we talked about, my first love. Um, now I'm not blaming him for me trying it, but that's
mhm,
where I was introduced
mhm,
to it. Um, and got introduced to it and liked the feeling, liked the way it made me feel, and I
yeah,
kept on. Then, as time progressed, the different strands of it, the better feeling you get, the better taste it was,
mhm,
the more I desired it.
mhm,
So the habit started way back when, and it was all the way up until here recently. I'm gonna say 6 months. And be honest, to where God delivered me out of it, but it was a time where I was like, Lord, help me.
mhm,
Well, I would pray. Now there was a time that I didn't pray on it. I just made excuses. Oh, it's not that bad. It's
mhm,
just marijuana.
mhm.
Everybody is doing it. Like, just
It's
because
a
you don't
man.
know. Yeah, it's a plant,
It's a plan.
like
Yeah.
it's not nothing you can get addicted to. You can stop it
Mhm,
anytime you want to. Now I'm gonna just say this and I'm just throw this in here. You can get addicted to it.
mhm.
A lot of people say it's not addiction, but it is. It's
Wow.
an addiction. And
Mhm,
in my opinion, it's an addiction because it's easy to start, but it's hard to stop
wow.
because of the feeling that it gives you. Now,
Mhm,
my experience, and I feel like God took me through it. I had an experience um, with edibles.
mhm.
Um, Edibles is a form of is it THC? Yeah,
Mhm,
THC.
mhm,
And it's in candy form. I had a gummy bear and it didn't do anything to me, but I had a brownie and it affected me.
mm,
So this is around the time where I'm praying to God, like, Lord, take the taste out of my mouth. And then I'm also, I talked about the different strands. Started out smoking what they call Reggie. Y'all know Reggie, which
mm,
is the lower grade of marijuana, which most people don't smoke it nowadays anymore. But it's more affordable.
mhm,
You can go a long way with a 20 sack of Reggie, and so that taste to me just, I was like, ugh, I don't like it no more. It just don't taste right.
mhm,
If we ain't smoking dro, Doty, as I would call it, then we ain't
Mm-hmm.
smoking nothing.
Yeah.
So it was so easy for me to get Reggie. It
Yeah.
became hard for me to get Dro, but then
Mm-hmm.
this is how the devil worked. Had a plug. Y'all know who the plug is. That's the drug supplier.
Mm-hmm.
Had a plug that gave it to me for a cheaper price
Mm.
and a good amount.
All
Okay,
right.
because it's very expensive.
Yes.
Okay. So I got it for a cheaper price, a good amount, and
Mm-hmm.
then it was accessible to me. I,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I could make a phone call and yeah, okay, let's go. No problem.
Wow.
This was around the time I was praying to God to take it
Wow.
away from me. Now, I'm praying to God to take it away from me, but
Mm.
I'm steady holding on to it. Now, He didn't allow me. Oh, it got expensive. Oh,
Yeah.
we ain't gonna talk about the price. When I added up how much we spent on it a month, I wanted to cry. Like, oh my God, this is what's keeping us stuck. This is what's keeping us from elevating,
Mm.
going to the next level.
Yes.
So I'm like, you know what? So still within this time frame is the devil throw this.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna make it affordable for you. You
Mm.
want to stop, but
But
you only want to stop because it's so expensive.
yes.
So I'm gonna make it affordable for you so you can get it. But my desire was still
Mm.
to stop because I know it was keeping me stuck.
Mm.
So that wasn't enough for me. Okay, then I was like, okay, I'm making up my mind. I'm
Mm.
stopping. That's it. It's too expensive. We gonna stop.
Mm.
Then here we go again. I go to California on a vacation. Y'all know California is legal down there.
Mhm.
I've never been somewhere where you can
Mhm.
do it legally. Like I mean, you can walk down the street and it's nothing. Well, I was like, okay, I'm not smoking anymore. I'm not toking anymore. I don't want to toke, but let me try edible. Y'all, the edible had my mind. It had my mind feeling like my own family was gonna kill me.
Oh my God.
My blood.
So you were paranoid with this.
Oh, very.
Oh wow.
I thought I was gonna harm myself. I didn't want to go to sleep. It was a horrible experience.
Oh my God.
Horrible. And you know what? I was like, that's it. That's when I realized it control your mind. It keeps you stuck.
Ah.
You think, oh,
Ah.
I had a bad day. This
Mhm.
lady just made me mad.
Mhm.
She just teed me off. I
Mhm.
can't believe she just spoke to me like this. Let me roll up a sweet
Mhm.
so it can calm my nerves.
Mhm.
Yes, calming your nerves, but it's keeping you stuck.
You used to.
You're not able
Wow.
to move forward, you know, and that's my experience with it. And I want
Mhm.
to encourage you to try take it step by step, day by day, because I was an abuser.
Mm.
Breakfast, lunch,
Mm.
lunch, dinner, snack. I can't tell you how many blunts I smoked in a day. But how about you start small? How about you skip breakfast, skip lunch?
Mm.
How about taking it down to one time a day
Mm.
and see how it changes your mental? See how much you can get done. You know, oh, it's just gonna calm me down. Oh, it ain't. Listen, I'm here to tell you, it really takes control of your mind.
Mm.
You, when paranoia, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it happens to you. You don't think it do,
Wow.
but it do.
But it,
So I'm here to encourage you that whatever steps you feel like you need to take, if you want to call me, talk to me, hear more about my story and how it made me feel, and I mean, thinking that my own husband, which I just spoke of, that loved me,
mhm.
was gonna harm me. You
Mm.
know, that's not a good feeling, and it's not a feeling that you should want to feel. I enjoyed it
Mhm.
when I can say I enjoyed it when I
Yeah,
was doing it, I enjoyed it. But now I see how it just keeps you stuck.
that's
And
so.
you want to be unstuck. It hurts you in so many levels. Your finances,
Mm,
your pocket, everything. Everything is going up right now.
mm,
Everything. So imagine how much better you can live if you didn't have that expense. Me
yeah.
and my husband talk about it all the time. Now that that expense is gone, oh my gosh, how
Wow.
much more we can do.
Wow.
And I'm sorry if I'm going on about it, but
No, this is
I mean,
helpful.
I feel like it's so common.
Hmm.
Smoking marijuana now is just like picking up a cigarette and smoking it.
Yes.
And honestly, I mean, it's no different.
Mhm.
You cigarettes get you addicted. So do marijuana.
Mhm.
It is an addiction, but you can break it.
Wow.
Take it day by day,
Yeah.
step by step, and you can break it.
Say
Just
that.
say no.
Say that.
I'm gonna go sober today. Try every other day. I'm gonna go sober today. I mean, honestly, that's kind of what I did.
Yeah.
I stopped. Me and my husband. Okay, we just gonna do it one time a day.
Hmm.
To I didn't even have a desire no more. And then pray. My prayer to God was, Lord, take the taste out of my mouth.
Mm.
Even though I get up and I roll me one and smoke, I'm still saying, Lord, take
Mhm.
the taste out of my mouth. Because once that taste is gone, and that's exactly what he did, y'all. He changed my taste buds for the marijuana.
Oh my God.
He changed it.
Oh my gosh. Y'all are hearing this in real time. And by the way, when we get questions, we're talking about recreational marijuana or recreational drugs. We're not talking about medicinal.
Hmm.
I am on the side where I have had to write medicinal marijuana for given situations and given the choice and the option. By the way, licensed board certified MD. So don't come for me tonight. It won't be pleasant. We're just sharing her story, but we wanted you to hear the difference. Medicinal marijuana, we've had to write under certain circumstances because that is the only thing that we had to treat a situation, whether that was cancer, whether that was an end stage disease or disorder that was going on, but that was the choice. And patients were informed of all of the side effects and what could happen. But the benefits under those circumstances, under watchful eyes, were discussed at the time. We're talking about recreational marijuana in our spare time. And that's what she's sharing here on tonight. And my goodness, the transparency in which you have shared on tonight on that level when you said it kept me stuck. It kept us
Hmm.
stuck. It kept us stuck mentally. It kept us stuck financially. It just kept us encased in a situation. And sometimes we don't hear those aspects of addiction, whatever they are, whatever the addiction may be. We don't hear those aspects of it. And then you shared some amazing gems on how to come out of that,
Hmm.
making a decision. The first one started for you in prayer. But then, even as I'm rolling up, and that's what I wanted somebody to hear. Because
Yes.
sometimes we will hear some stories and say, oh, well, just quit. Oh, well, just stop. If you're really trying, you would. But addiction, the
Hmm.
journey to recovery is a process more
Hmm.
often than not. And you talked about that process. And the big one in there that I kept hearing is be patient with me.
Hmm.
Be patient with me as I journey to wholeness. Be patient with me as I journey to recovery. Be patient with me as
Yes.
I learn a new normal. And I heard you be patient with you and for
Hmm.
you all to be patient with each other. And I'm so proud of you. I've got to, I've said it before, behind the cameras, etc. Somebody asked how old you were. I don't even know. I just called her my baby. So give me your age
How
too.
old I am now?
Yes.
I'm 33.
30. Oh my goodness. You see a transition in this young woman. She started us somewhere, of course, birth, but somewhere living life around 18, 19, and
Hmm.
bringing us up to 33. This is an amazing, I can only imagine what God holds for you. So,
Mm,
so you talked about having that conversation with this generation, and you were so transparent and just so genuine. We just absolutely love it. And inviting into a conversation. By the way, anybody wants her information, we will do a max or hit us up. We can allow you to inbox her, whatever you need to do, because she is a jewel. You want her. If you have millennials, Gen Zers around,
yeah.
I can assure you, you want Mackeshia Edwards Jackson at your house, at your church, at your association, at
Mhm.
your organization, to begin to reach out to young people in a way we can't do that.
Yes.
Okay, she's got her finger on the pulse and she's got the language for it, guys. So you're also a worshiper. And I know the struggle you had in your faith as you were journeying to this, going to church, singing. Um, and now that you're on this side of that, how has that impacted your walk in faith?
Oh, my walk in faith has grown so much. I'm no longer ashamed. You know, I know that God has anointed my voice to worship. Now, I say this and I'm like, there's a lot of other people who can sing
Mhm.
better than me. I mean, that's just it. But my voice has the anointing to reach. And that used to be one of the things I'd be like, oh, I'm nervous to sing because this person here and they
Mhm.
sound better, that person here. But I'm no longer worried about that because I know my voice is to reach. And my faith in God now is like no other. At this moment, I'm believing God to work another miracle in my life. And I'm believing crazy faith, y'all. It's something that if I was to tell you now, you'd be like, girl, you crazy. But
But God.
my belief
Mhm.
is so strong in the Lord now because I know what He can do. I
Mhm.
know what He can bring you out of. Again, I said it was situations, places that I shouldn't have never been.
Yeah.
That if all it took was one knock on the door and I probably would have been in jail, not on my account, but because of the place I was at.
Yeah.
But God kept me. He brought me
Yeah.
through it. So
Mhm.
my faith now and my belief in Him is unchanging. Nobody, and hear me, nobody can tell me what
Mhm.
my God can
Yes.
do.
Nobody.
I'm connected to so many miracles.
Yes.
It'll take a whole nother live to discuss the miracle that my husband went through. That's why I say God put the way He structured my life,
Mhm.
and I'm not trying to brag, but I'm His favorite. The way He structured my life, listen,
Come
I'm
on,
connected to
sister.
miracles.
Come on.
My mom is a miracle. My husband
Yes.
is a miracle. Someone who waited on a transplant list in Houston, Texas,
Come
5 years on treatment. We
come
go to Shreveport, Louisiana. He wait 1 month, exactly 1 month, and receive a kidney.
come on here,
God
sister.
spoke it to me that He was going to expedite it.
Oh, that's
Through
a
my
word.
pastor, my
Oh
brother,
my
Pastor
goodness.
Joshua Edwards, he spoke it to me that he was
Girl,
going to
come
expedite
on.
it. And he did just that.
Jesus.
Did y'all hear me? He
Yes.
waited 5 years on a transplant
Expedite.
list down here. God
Come on.
expedited. He
Yeah.
waited a month. As soon as his name was placed
Yeah.
on that list, it was a month later. You
Yes.
can't tell me what God can't do.
God.
You can't
Expedite.
tell me. Mm,
Girl, you had me
can't
stuck on
tell me.
expedite. I'm already having something
Listen,
over here happening in the room. You
I'm
said
so
expedite.
grateful to the Lord for all the things that He has done in my life. And
Yeah.
I'm telling you, it's the reason why I'm still here. And I'm going after that reason. The ones that I made a mistake with, the ones that I created, I was the first initial influencer with marijuana. I'm coming after you. If you watching, I'm coming after
Come
you.
on. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Look, y'all, this is hot. Y'all put your things in there. This my baby. This my girl right here. Y'all know this is my shadow. I thank her mom, Minister Deborah Edwards, for entrusting this jewel and this gem to me in this season of my life. But I gotta tell you, her platform is far greater than what we're seeing tonight. This is just a snip.
Amen.
You're on the cusp, girl. You are on the cusp of what I call just the breaker for
Amen.
this generation. That is you. That is you. Because your life speaks a story. I mean, who would have thought the phases? Young love, domestic violence, go through cancer at 24 that could have taken you out at that particular age. Blessed to find the love of loves. Here he is. He got your back. Girl, he getting her dinner ready right now as we're talking. So as soon as this is over, she can eat. Like, he's that guy. And then to go through a journey, which we sometimes are so cavalier about, or maybe we don't even know what conversation to have when it comes to recreational drugs. Maybe that hasn't been our story. And if it has been our story, it's been so long ago, this generation doesn't want to hear about old soup. They want a new, fresh meal. You bringing in that new, fresh meal and say, sit down at the table. I'm coming to you. I already got this thing prepared. It's hot. It's coming out hot. That's what we see.
Yes.
It's coming hot to you. You have the voice of victory for this generation.
Amen.
I am so excited to see y'all just put some hands in the chat somewhere for this girl. This girl, I want her to take us home. We're going to do this last question a different way. I'm just going to ask it straight out. But as we conclude on the state of me, because that's what she's sharing about, what song would you choose to sing to us? A snippet, just thinking, that would be representative of where you see yourself 10 years from now as God allows it. Just sing me one. I'm gonna put this on you.
Okay. Let me gather.
I'm gonna let you think, and once you gather, you tell me you're ready. I'm gonna let you go for it. I'm gonna let her close this thing out, you guys. I've been your host facilitator. We'll try to do what we do. Dr. Sheri Dark-Goudeau would tell your story. Touchstone Tuesday is allowing us to present this, but I'm telling you guys, one story still changes many lives. We're gonna let
Amen.
this sweet one take us home. What you got?
Here we go. I'm just gonna go into it. It's a freedom song. Just
Please.
being free.
Yes.
My
Oh.
save me from sin. My soul is awake and I live free from what held me, free from what fought me mentally. You've captured me in my mind. I am free in my heart. If I am yours, I am free. My Redeemer has saved me from sin. Thank you, Lord. My soul is awake and I live. Anybody want to be free? Free from what held me. Free from what fought me mentally. He've captured me in my mind. I am free in my heart. If I am yours, I am free. Thank you, Lord, for setting me free mentally. And I'm free. You can be free too. I'm coming after you. Get
Wow.
ready.
Wow. 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 You heard it here. live. Every channel, every platform, just about we have. You can be free.
Yes, you
That
can.
is the true state of me. And oh my goodness, I love you to life, my girl.
I love you too, Dr. G. Thank you so much for allowing me this opportunity. Like I told you earlier, this is the first.
Of
Um,
many.
you may have heard a story about me, but this is my story. And if you want more details, like I said earlier, call me. We can chat about it. I don't mind. We can talk because you're going to be free.
And that we will do. Thank you guys again for joining us here on Touchstone Tuesday Presents Tell Your Story. I'm your host, facilitator, Dr. Sheri Dark-Goudeau. It's been my pleasure to enjoy the night with my amazing young lady and guest, my baby, Minister. She don't like it, but it's coming this here. Mackeshia Edwards Jackson, the voice of the Gen Z, the millennials, the missing generation. We just got them back, y'all. Here's the break.
Yes.
Love you guys to life.
Love y'all.
Amazing day.
Good night.
Good night. Gonna close out here.